How many are free tonight? There's a story in the book of John, chapter 4, verse 22. And it talks about a woman that Jesus meets. And it's actually a woman that Jesus went that side of town specifically for that woman. When Jesus sits down with this woman, has this conversation with her, the woman doesn't recognize who he is. It's a Samaritan woman. She began to ask, why is it that you talk to me? Why is it that you're even sharing these things with me? And Jesus began to show her a secret, begins to give her insight on what's to come to the future. He begins to even prophesy this moment that we're in right now. He tells her, look, the Samaritans you worship, not knowing what you even do, not knowing God you worship. The Jews, you know who God is, and you worship routinely. And he began to specify these two groups. The first group was a group that did not know God, but yet they lifted their hands, they worshiped God, but they did not know him. The second group, the Jews, they knew God, but they did not know how to approach him. They didn't feel worthy of even coming close to him. They were approaching the Lord, they were approaching God in a wrong way. And then Jesus says in verse 23, he says, there's going to come a day. The Father seeks after worshipers. Do you understand that God seeks after worshipers? He's not looking for the best. He's not looking for the most polished. All he's looking for is worshipers. Think about it. There's such a lack of worship that he has to seek it. There's such a lack of worshipers that he has to go out and seek it. Maybe you might find yourself in one of these two groups. You might find yourself in the group that does not know God. But yet you come to church and you lift your hands and you sing the songs. But you're far from God. You don't know God. You might be part of this second group that knows God, but has forgotten how his presence feels. You have forgotten what it is to be in the presence of God. The first group, they just did worship as tradition because it's all they knew. The second group, they did worship as religion, routine. But the third group that Jesus is looking for, the Father is looking for, is a group of people, a worshiper that seeks him, that worships him in spirit and in truth. In spirit, meaning that we connect with God, we stay holy before him. And in truth, meaning that we know exactly what we're doing. We're surrendering our hearts before him. We heard this morning, Pastor Christian, he spoke about sacrifice. Worship is a sacrifice. I'm going to ask you tonight, what do you have to give to the Lord? What do you have to give to the Lord? He has a lot to offer to us. But is there something that you have to offer him? And the best form of worship, the Bible says, Paul said, the best form of worship is a living sacrifice. A living sacrifice. A life surrendered completely to him. So no matter what group you find yourself in, the first group or the second, let's move into that third group where we're able to say, God, I need you. I know exactly what I'm doing. I'm not doing it out of tradition or routine, but I'm doing it because I want to know you more. I want to get close to you. And that's what it's all about. It's getting close to God. And when we get close to the Lord, you know what happens? He changes us. He changes us. If you want a change in your life, you want God to do a transformation in your life, worship the Lord. Because He doesn't need our worship. We need to worship God. Our need for worshiping Him is much greater than anything else. That's why we turn to drugs. That's why we turn to lust. That's why we turn to different things, because we have a desire, we have a need. There's an instinct inside of us that says, I have to worship. And because our worship is not directed to the thing we were created to worship, something along the way begins to distort our vision, begins to distort our perspective. But when we align ourselves to Him, when we lift Him up above our circumstance, when we lift Him up above our situation, above our diseases, above our sicknesses, God is able to move. He's able to intervene. He's able to come in and do what He does best, and it's moving our lives. So tonight I want to challenge you. Let's lift Him up. Let's lift Him up above our circumstances. I know you've been through so much. You've been hurt. You've been put down. Or maybe not. You're probably at the mountaintop. But even on the mountaintop, don't forget what God has done in your life. And when you're in the valley, don't forget that He loves you. Don't forget that He is there right with you, wherever you find yourself. I want you to close your eyes, by